everybody. Hi, Danny. I appreciated your comment. We do have a lot of Dannys here. It's so nice to see everybody. I'm glad I'm able to do another live stream today. I'm not quite sure what the situation is going to be with live streams tomorrow and then early next week because of the 4th of July holiday. Hollywood is shutting down a lot. Although we'll see if we have an actors strike, which we're going to talk about during today's stream. Everybody's waiting to see what happens there. But you'll find out. But I think we might not be talking about the actors strike until a little bit after the 4th of July. But I'm just very glad to be able to do this today. I think that we have a really great lineup of stories. Now, I saw a couple of you talking about some things, and so I wanted to just touch on them. I did not cover the Dune trailer. I'm sorry about that. That's the downside of dropping your trailer with no heads up. Everybody might decide they're too busy and it's not worth their time, which is unfortunately the decision that I had to make. I'm in the middle of doing my Indiana Jones coverage. I'm doing a spoiler review for tomorrow, and I just didn't have time to drop it, to drop everything and do a reaction and breakdown, particularly because the last trailer performed so poorly. So I was like, I had to make an executive decision, especially because my Indiana Jones review was so late because of a problem with the screenings. And so I had to prioritize Indiana Jones. Thanks, Jerome. That's so kind of you to gift a membership. That's just, Sophia, what I mean by performed poorly is that it did not, there's not enough interest in Dune. I think that while the first Dune performed like a major film, nobody seems to care about Dune anymore. I mean, we'll see what happens when it hits theaters, but I think that the franchise has just completely had the bottom fall out from underneath it. So I'm not counting very heavily on that at any point. The overall feeling seems to be that people fall asleep during Dune. Sadie, that's so kind of you. I remember you just joined the other day. Thank you for gifting a membership. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was that I see some of you talking about the Fantastic Four situation. I told you before anybody else that everybody was back up for grabs. Hey, Zay, thanks for gifting a membership. I said, everybody, Matthew, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. So I said every single Fantastic Four role was up for grabs, and that I was fairly certain that Vanessa Kirby had snagged Sue Storm. And then today, you're seeing that finally start to get some traction with other scoopers. Hey, Josh, thanks for gifting a membership. So I don't know who could potentially be Reed now. I haven't heard any names. I told you the only one I feel very sure about, I'm not 100%, but I'm like 95% sure that it's Vanessa Kirby. But all the other roles are open. They're totally back at square one for everybody else. I'd heard that maybe they could have worked it out with Adam Driver, but I'm not surprised that they didn't. It's really, as I tweeted, it's a money issue, and that suddenly everybody wanted $20 million because of the Emma Stone report, and Disney just could not do that. So I think that's good, quite frankly. Let's see. I think they can come up with a little bit of a better cast, to be honest with you. I think there's better people out there. And I think Vanessa Kirby, especially after I just saw Mission Impossible the other day, very, very good stuff. Ben 10, I saw that interview, and I think Vanessa Kirby was very quiet on it. She said she'd be honored, but that's all she said. She kept it very close to the vest because she cannot reveal it until the rest of the cast has been put together. Thanks for gifting a membership, Silver Scale. All right, so we're going to get started. We have a great lineup of stories. As usual, try to keep your comments based on what I'm discussing. And if you really want to make sure that your comment gets seen, even as a super chat, please try to put it in there when I say, okay, does anyone have any comments or questions about this story? Or at the Q&A at the very end of the stream for 10 minutes, okay? And then otherwise, don't say, oh, hey, you missed my chat, or can you please, it's going to be hard for me to go back. Hey, Celestine, I'm glad you made it. So I just want you to be prepared because, I want to make sure that this is easy to watch if you're not watching it live. And people come here for the news. All right, let's get started on that. All right, here we go, baby. Here we go. All right. Boop! Oh, Barbie versus Oppenheimer. Everybody's trying to make Barbenheimer work. Yeah, just like Josh Loves Movies said. I'm not seeing Barbenheimer too much around there. I prefer Barbie versus Oppenheimer, quite frankly. So the reason we're discussing it today, first we were talking about the lack of premium screens. And just to catch you up, remember, Mission Impossible has all the premium screens for its opening weekend. It opens on a Wednesday. But then Oppenheimer comes in and yoink, takes all the IMAXs at least for a week, at least for a full week. And then, after that, it's a little bit up in the air. Except for the AMC Lincoln Square IMAX, that's booked solid for like 3 weeks. It's nuts. But I've checked other IMAX screens, and the ticket sales are not as robust. Barbie's got one Dolby showing on Saturday. Barbie has one Dolby showtime a day at 4 p.m. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it on a premium screen, at least opening weekend. And the rest of the Dolby showtimes are going to Mission Impossible. But now we're talking about box office, baby. You guys want a poll? You want a poll, Rashad? Okay, hold on. Remember, anyone could vote in a poll. Which movie are you the most excited about? Tom Cruise says the answer is all of them. So there's Barbie, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible. I just saw Mission Impossible. It's incredible. Mission Impossible 7. And then all three. I'm excited about all three. We'll call that the Tom Cruise. No, let's not complicate it. But Tom Cruise has been talking about that. I think because he saw everybody was like, Tom Cruise is hurting Barbie and Oppenheimer. So Tom Cruise was like, I love all movies. Don't hate me, please. I just want my movie to be on a good screen. That's what's going on with Tom Cruise. All right, so while you guys vote on this, let's talk about the box office, because tracking has come online finally 3 weeks out. Still 3 weeks away. There's so much talk about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbie in particular, I've talked to a number of people who are like, is Barbie opening this weekend? And it's like, no, you got 3 weeks to go. And I hope Barbie didn't peak too early. The problem with opening your film around the 4th of July is that everybody goes on vacation, from the people who are involved with making the movie to the PR publicity teams. And then also everybody's away. They're not looking at their televisions or their social media. They're out doing stuff, particularly in the United States. So that's why you had all these premieres. Well, they haven't had the Barbie premiere yet, but that's why they've had all this stuff coming out now. Although Barbie, well, let me tell you what the numbers are, and then we'll talk about each film individually. So Barbie is looking to be very strong out of the gate with 70 to 80 million for its opening weekend. That's the industry projection. Warner Brothers is trying to be a little bit more pessimistic so they don't, disappoint. They're saying they expect a $60 million opening. But, so far, pre-sales are ahead of The Little Mermaid, which opened close to 100 million with like 95. So there's some thought that Barbie could open close to 100, like a blockbuster, baby. Barbie blockbuster! Whereas Oppenheimer is looking to be 40 to 50 million, which is actually, it's not up there with Nolan's like superhero debuts, but that's actually where a lot of his movies open. That's like right where Dunkirk opened. So it looks like Barbie is going to completely obliterate Oppenheimer at the box office opening weekend. But let's talk about what this really means, okay? Because it's not like a one-on-one. So I will say that I think that Margot Robbie has finally found the right role for her, not just as an actress, but also as a producer. She has done a horrible job producing projects for herself up until now. I really liked Promising Young Woman, which she produced, but did not star in. That's right, Mika. How did Ryan Gosling get a $100 million movie? I think it's all Margot Robbie, quite frankly. I think Margot Robbie has finally found the right thing. I don't think she was good in I, Tonya, Mika. I think she was miscast. But I think this is a very, very big deal. And I think you're right. Greta Gerwig, Kay Walton, deserves credit as well. I also think that the movie blew up on social media when it was first, they first started to tease it, which has been a godsend for the film. I think the ad campaign has been very well run. They have done more to promote Barbie than any other film this year from Warner Brothers. They put so much money behind it. It's a very good ad campaign. They have great partners. They are working with so many different outlets. It's extremely impressive. They've been doing a great job. That's right, Callahan. The set photos are amazing. They did a wonderful little video with Architectural Digest. I just think it's very, very well publicized. I think it also helps that this is so refreshing. This is unlike anything that's been in this space for a while, except maybe Sex and the City. So it's just very fresh. I've seen some trolls try to say, no straight guys want to see Barbie. I don't think that's true. I know a lot of straight guys who are interested in Barbie. I think a lot of people are interested in Barbie. And again, because it looks like fun and it looks like a very different type of movie than we're used to seeing right now, but it's still a blockbuster. Legally Blonde, Denzel, that's kind of a fun idea, but I think part of the problem with I think this is bigger because this is based on the Barbie doll, which of course is extremely well known, so it benefits from also being an IP. I do think that they continue to hide what the film is really about. I think it's extremely progressive and very liberal. And if they haven't changed the ending, I think the ending would probably upset a lot of people, including a lot of liberal people. So I haven't seen it yet. I do know that they've done reshoots. They might have changed the film. They might have seen how hot it was in the trailer and been like, maybe it shouldn't be so aggressively political. But let's see. Let's see. I know about the Airbnb house poke. I know about the Airbnb house, but Airbnb is imploding. So let's see if anybody actually stays there. I also feel the Barbie Airbnb house is really just for influencers. So I think that makes it less cool. So let's see. Let's see what happens. And also, it's not a family film. Barbie's not, I don't believe Barbie is a family movie, particularly if they keep the ending that I've heard about. But let's see. I have not seen the film. I have not seen the latest cut. So let's see how it works out. So that's the Barbie situation. But I'm very happy for Margot Robbie. Again, I feel she finally has found the right project for her. Let's see here. Bartleby says, I'm just wondering what you think will be the demographics for Barbie. What is Barbie's audience? I think Barbie will really do particularly well with women in the LGBT community. I think, unfortunately, some families will show up, and let's see what their reaction is. But I think, Sex and the City, I think, is a good comp. The first movie came out in 2008 and opened with 57 million, but that was, more of an adult brand. I think because Barbie seems all ages, it's over-indexing. And also, I think it just seems like an event. So I think that's kind of what's going on there. All right? Then, and also, I think that Barbie right now, again, Barbie it's surprising to me that there has been no Barbie backlash, because Barbie has a lot of elements that particularly I think the conservative community have been so aggressive against. And so I don't know if they don't know about it. I don't know if they're not doing their research to look into it. I don't know if those elements are still in the film, but let's just see what happens. All right, now for Oppenheimer. All right, so Oppenheimer, yes, it's a 3-hour movie for adults about the atomic bomb, which of course is a major bummer. So yeah, I wouldn't expect it to open as big as Barbie. I don't think Nolan cares about making a lot of money off this movie. Nolan totally wants to win an Oscar. And I don't know if he's going to be able to still do it. I mean, I think, let's see if he has, his films remain kind of cold, which I think hurts him with his Oscar campaigns. But let's see. But that's why he made this movie. He wants an Oscar already. He's sick and tired of not having an Oscar. I agree, Neutral Man 91. I think, Killers of the Flower Moon looks really amazing. And I think that Nolan's going to have a hard time topping it. But at least he can maybe get like a freaking nomination. I don't think he got a nomination even for Dunkirk. So I think he just at least wants to get on the freaking board already. So that's the issue there for him. I also think that Cillian Murphy has his fans, but Cillian Murphy, he's like Ryan Gosling. Margot Robbie is the real, key player there. Cillian Murphy's going to not help sell tickets. So I think that's another issue. I think a lot of people are like, Cillian Murphy, what? I think Oppenheimer deserves to be seen on a big screen. That's obviously how it was made. But I can see a lot of people being like, looks like an HBO show to me. I shall watch it on the streaming. Now, I do think, Warner Brothers says that now they want Nolan back, now that they have a change of leadership. The poll is still running, Kay Walton. Warner Brothers says they want Nolan back. They gave him a multi-million-dollar check to make good on Tenet. But I think the thing is that they are actually hurting Oppenheimer to a degree. I think Oppenheimer probably would have opened a scooch bigger if not for Barbie. So I wonder how Nolan's going to feel about that. I do feel that Barbie is affecting Oppenheimer a little bit to a degree. And will it hurt its Oscar chances, if that becomes more of the narrative? Oh, thank you, Dylan Reese. I'm never sure how to pronounce his name. Cillian Murphy. Thank you. So yes, we'll see what happens. And also, I'm curious as to whether Oppenheimer can hold on to its IMAX tickets beyond that first week. It's only guaranteed, I think it's guaranteed actually for the first 2 weeks. Tom Cruise wants in on week 2 and 3. He's like, fine, Nolan, keep your IMAX screens for the first week, but I want you to split them. I want IMAX to split them after that. But let's see. I mean, I've checked the sales on all 3 of these movies, and I have to say, outside of cities, in big cities, Barbie is selling extremely well. But in Middle America, no, it's not. In Middle America, none of these movies, including Mission Impossible, have strong pre-sales. I mean, they're saying, ooh, Barbie's bigger than Little Mermaid pre-sales, but Little Mermaid pre-sales weren't great. Little Mermaid was a walk-up movie. That's how it got to $100 million. And I think that all 3 of these movies are going to be strong on the walk-up business. I don't know how it's going to be in mid to late July, quite frankly. I think it would have been better maybe to have a little more competition for the 4th of July holiday, but let's see. But, I think that's where, the big coasts always show up, to see these movies because they're big movie-going spaces. However, it's where if you can mobilize Middle America, that's where you're going to make your huge amounts of money. So we have to see what's going to happen there. That's where I think it's going to get really, really interesting. I've only seen Mission Impossible so far, and that's because its review embargo lifts the day after 4th of July because it opens July 8th overseas. It's a phenomenal film. It's as good as Top Gun Maverick, but it doesn't have the political aspect of Top Gun Maverick or the nostalgia-esque feel. It's another Mission Impossible movie, the best one yet, but I don't know if it can do a repeat of what Top Gun Maverick did, especially because it has such strong competition in Barbie and Oppenheimer. But let's see what happens. Let's see. All right, so let me close the poll. All right, almost 2,000 votes. Barbie won with 45%, Mission Impossible with 22%, and Oppenheimer with 18%, while all 3 got 12%. But Barbie didn't just completely destroy the competition, but it's certainly, I think, very strong ahead. All right, so does anybody have any questions about or comments about this story before we move on to the next one? Sophia says the Mission Impossible movies usually top out at $700 million, and I think this new one will do the same. Let's see. Yeah, I would like to see it break into the 800 millions. I'd like to see the franchise make a little progress, not only because it's so good, but because, they're building off of Top Gun Maverick. But I do agree, Sophia, that there's a chance it could only just hold steady. Chris says, no Dolby screens for Barbie near me. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, but just go find a really good screen. Just make sure you go to a fun theater and have a good showtime. Chris, I can't review Mission Impossible until July 5th because of the review embargo. Tristan, it's 1 a.m. in Kenya. Thanks for staying up with us. Mike Media says, who do you think wins the month of July for box office? I think it's between Mission Impossible and Barbie. I don't know if Barbie will burn brightly and then be done. I don't know if Barbie will have legs. I have to see how people react to the stuff that they're hiding about the film. Bug says, could Margot and Ryan be the combo on-screen pairing they've both been looking for? I don't know, Bug. I think they might in this movie, but I'm concerned that they're leaning into it again with another Ocean's 11 movie, this time in 1960s Paris. I wouldn't reteam them again. I would only have them be together for the Barbie movies because I would want to make more Barbie movies. And the new Ocean's 11 is from Warner Brothers, no less. So I think that's a mistake. Adrian, all my A-list slots are full. So I've been paying for some movies. How crazy is that? I had to pay for Oppenheimer to hold all these tickets. My A-list right now is another Indiana Jones to go with my family. I'm holding some Barbie tickets. And then also Haunted Mansion. I used my A-list for that. Poor Oppenheimer. I got to pay full price for that stuff, man. But at least I get points. Let's see here. Rio says, have you heard about the Barbie cult? Very similar to the Minion cult. So has a really good social media presence. Well, I hope it's not totally like that, because I got to tell you, when Minions came out last year, I was in the theater with some Minion cultists, and they really ruined the movie-going experience. I'm glad they had fun, but it made it not fun to be in the theater, and it was hard to focus on the movie. So I'm going to be pretty freaking upset if people make it horrible to be in Barbie. You know, if people are running around doing horrible stuff during the Barbie screening, they're going to get into some fights. Because some people are really looking forward to that. Sophia knows what I'm talking about. Oh, Electrobolt says, what is a Minion cultist? Well, you might recall that for the Minions, everybody wore suits. Remember? Everybody went in suits and sunglasses and got all dressed up to go see Minions and took pictures of themselves outside and inside the theater. And they were coming in huge groups. And it was like a TikTok trend, which, helps the Grimace Shake. Hey, Bumblebee. Thanks for gifting 5 memberships. It's just a nightmare to be sitting in that theater. That's what I'll tell you. But Minions made a lot of money. So that's good. Nick says, will Margot Robbie continue to play Harley Quinn? Let's see. I think James Gunn just has to try and stay ahead of DC. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. We'll talk about him a little bit more with our SAG story. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Hold on. Let's go to the next story. All right, hold on. Wait a minute. Where'd my mouse go? Where is it? There. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Boop. Evan Peters. Yesterday, Evan Peters signed on for Tron 3. I'm so happy for Evan Peters. It looks like his star is finally on the rise. He, of course, has become a very successful streaming and television star, but it looked like he couldn't level up to movies. It was weird. He's, of course, been in American Horror Story, many, many versions. Mayor of Easttown was a great breakout thing for him on HBO opposite Kate Winslet. He won the Golden Globe for that and the Emmy. He was very, very good on that show. And then, of course, he was in Dahmer, where he's getting a lot of nominations again. He's opposite Jared Leto, as you can see, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let's talk about Tron. So Disney's making Tron 3. And this could be really big for Evan Peters. He's gotten himself a major blockbuster. That's huge for him. Huge. That's right, Aubrey. He was Ralph Boner in WandaVision. That was a huge fake out. And, he was actually, that's right, he was in the X-Men movies, which didn't really work out for him, even though he was so good in them. So here he's going to be a bigger role, though. So he's got a big role. He kind of looks a little bit like Garrett Hedlund, and I wonder if that's intentional, right? So we'll see. My only concern is that not only is Jared Leto in this movie, which we'll talk about in a moment, but the director is Joaquin Roning, who did the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which was awful. Oh, it was just so awful. So the fact that anybody would hire this guy to do anything is shocking to me. Although the last Tron was directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did a horrible job. The first Tron movie was beautiful, but not good. I remember what a big deal it was, and then everybody went to see it and was like, this is garbage. But it was so visually stunning that it's managed to hold on. But Joseph Kosinski, of course, famously went on to direct Top Gun Maverick. However, Joaquin Roning also directed another movie called Kon-Tiki, which is how he got Pirates, and Kon-Tiki actually wasn't that bad. So that gives me a little hope. All right? Now, in the first movie, you might recall that there were digital people. And at the end of the movie, Olivia Wilde, who was a digital character who had been created on the grid, she was like a computer program, she became a real person at the end of the movie. So I wonder if maybe there are digital people walking around in Tron 3. And maybe Jared Leto or Evan Peters is one of them. They're both a little bizarre, which I think is interesting. So I think that's interesting. Those are the casting choices that they've made. Now, and also, of course, Disney's very invested in Tron because of the roller coaster that they've built. Very popular roller coaster in Shanghai, Disneyland, and they've just brought it over to Florida. Oh, he directed Maleficent 2. You're right. Maleficent 2 was also bad. I'm nervous. I knew he directed something else. I thought it was Alice in Wonderland 2, and I was like, no, that wasn't him. But you're right, it was Maleficent 2. Thanks for gifting a membership, 80s model. But also this roller coaster was just brought to Florida, and Tyler says it's great. I hear it's great too, but I hear it's very short. I hear people are disappointed after waiting so long in line. They're like, the ride is over, and they're trying to say that the loading process is part of the ride. They're like, oh, the show begins, and you're like, I'm not on a roller coaster, so this is still the line. All right, so they're saying if there isn't a SAG strike on Friday, tomorrow, they're hoping to start shooting in August in Vancouver. So obviously, lots of set work, soundstage work. Now, Jared Leto is still signed on to this thing. I can't believe they didn't jettison him. He was in Morbius, which, I thought was not bad. And also, he was so good in, the WeWork movie, We Crashed. He was incredible in that. Absolutely incredible. But Jared Leto, even if I think his work is good, when I put my business hat on, I can see that his career is pretty bad. Not only are there some pretty bad accusations against him that won't go away, but of course I think he did a bad job in Blade Runner 2049. And even though I appreciated him, House of Gucci, he really brought that movie down. That's right, he is in Haunted Mansion, Ilian, and they will not tell anyone. Jared Leto plays the Hatbox Ghost, who looks really cool, by the way. And it is a secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. Disney's like, what? Jared Leto isn't in this movie. What are you talking about? We already have to deal with Tiffany Haddish being in this movie. Just please come see it. It looks great to me. I'm very excited about Haunted Mansion. But we'll see how it does. I think that Jared Leto is like really in a bad place, and I think like you never know which way his movies are going to break. And I think Evan Peters is a little bit off kilter, so maybe he'll help. Maybe it'll work. Maybe he and Jared Leto will work out wonderfully together. And maybe people will be like, I don't like Jared Leto, but I love Evan Peters so much, I'll go support Evan Peters. Because Evan Peters is really, really popular. Tiffany Haddish, I read your typo there. Hey, Juan Gonzalez, thank you for gifting a membership. Tiffany Haddish can be funny, but Tiffany Haddish has horrible allegations against her, which are horrible. And I think even more provable than the ones against Jared Leto. Tiffany Haddish actually got sued. So that Haunted Mansion has a bad situation with its cast. So let's see what happens. But I really hope that Evan Peters, I want this movie to do well. I don't want Evan Peters to get blamed for it, Like some people were like, well, just because Morbius stunk doesn't, Matt Smith still has House of the Dragon, but he was already signed for House of the Dragon before Morbius came out. So I think it's not quite the same thing. I just want this to work out for Evan Peters because I really like Evan Peters. I think it's a time for him to level up to movies. I just wish that Jared Leto wasn't in this film with him. And I wish it had a better director, but hang on, Evan Peters. Hang on. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this story? KJ says, Haunted Mansion is covered in Jamie Lee Curtis pixie dust. It can fly. But how big is her role? They're using her extensively to promote it, but she's, I don't know how much she's in the actual movie. And I will say, I think it's like Disney's like awfully, it's crazy of them to have an largely black cast, but having like the two white people do most of the promotions. I'm like, people can see the movie, man. I think it's disrespectful to the cast. I'm like, why isn't Rosario Dawson doing more press for this? Cosmics, I did like them promoting Haunted Mansion the other day at Disneyland. I thought that was great. Econostone says, I think it's going to be tough because they're saying Evan is the villain and Leto is the good guy. That's nuts. Really, Econa? I had not heard that. That's stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Thanks, Dory Does Voices. That's very kind of you to say. Olivia Wilde, Raphael, I think Olivia Wilde's career is over. She's not in this movie, and I don't know, maybe she might show up in a small cameo, but they're probably like, Olivia Wilde and Jared Leto? Are you just trying to kill us? Simon Foley, I agree. Jared Leto was awful in Blade Runner 2049. I tried to defend his performances sometime. There's no defending that. TJ, the old stars I don't think aren't coming back because I think the last one didn't do particularly well. So I wouldn't bring back Garrett Hedlund and Olivia Wilde, quite frankly. But I'd try and bring back Jeff Bridges. And I think he'd do it if I wrote him a big enough check, quite frankly. Diego, the first Tron's pretty good, but the other Tron 2 is bad. I would not watch Tron 2. Even for research purposes. It's so bad. Don't watch that movie. It's bad. That's funny, Neutral Man 91. I love Jeff too, Aubrey Smalls, although I heard a rumor that Jeff Bridges crossed a picket line for the Writers Guild, and that was surprising to me. It's a rumor, though. It's a rumor. I did not actually see it with my own eyes. That's right, C. Rich. The soundtrack for Tron 2 was amazing by Daft Punk, as C. Har just pointed out. It was incredible. I mean, I bought it like the rest of the world, but I still didn't like the movie. Brendan Mills says, why would they bank a franchise on somebody so problematic? Nobody even likes Jared Leto anymore. I know! I'm right there with you, Brendan. I can't believe the Disney executives weren't like, how can we get him out of this? How can we buy him out of this contract? I would get him out of it. I would rather not make Tron 3 than make it with Jared Leto, to be quite frank with you. Because I think Jared Leto's in such a bad space right now. I don't want to put him on the red carpet. I don't want to deal with it. He's like a scooch away from Ezra Miller, to be honest with you. That's how I feel about it. That's where I think Jared Leto is right now. All right, let's see here. So let's go on to the next story. So the third story of the day, then we'll do the Q&A. So the third, you might ask me anything. So the third story of the day, boom, baby. Boom, baby. There it is. Oh, I false boom, baby. All right, so boom, baby. The SAG strike. Sammy says, outside of the bad de-aging, how is Tron Legacy bad? The story's awful. It's just an awful story that makes no sense. It's very bad. All right, so the SAG strike. Fran Drescher, whew, she's come a long way since everybody said she was tone deaf at the beginning of the writer's strike. Suddenly, I think she's running for re-election soon. She is backed by, apparently there are warring factions inside the Screen Actors Guild. This is news to me. So they really, it's like a Romeo and Juliet situation, the Montagues and Capulets. There's two sides there, and they hate each other, apparently. And they back different, it's like Democrats and Republicans within the Screen Actors Guild. And somehow, they've all come together to back Fran Drescher. And people have said this is unheard of. They're like, I can't believe these two groups decided on something, agreed on something. And they agreed on Fran Drescher. So that's funny. So Fran Drescher's like living large. She's living her best life. And she's in the middle of negotiating this contract. Now, the actual contract that they have now runs out at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Coast time tomorrow. And then SAG should go on strike. So they're furiously trying to get a deal done. Now, that's why I believe Evan Peters was signed yesterday. I heard some rumblings that's why, as we discussed, that's why James Gunn announced his Superman Legacy cast so early and not at Comic-Con potentially. We still don't know if they're even going. But the reason James Gunn did it now is so that he could move into pre-production because the actors are already hired. Although they won't be able to come into set for fittings and stuff like that, but at least they'll know who they're working with, the team. And that's maybe, oh, yes, right, Britt. That's a good point, Britt. That's another reason Barbie press is so early, because they won't be able to potentially do any press once they go on strike. That's a great one, Britt. Good catch. So I think that's a big issue as well. So that's another reason that you had this advertising way too early. And then also that's why everybody's canceled mostly their Comic-Con presentations because they feel the actors are going to go on strike. Now, because the 4th of July holiday is coming up and the industry really doesn't want to go on strike, this would be devastating. This would be the big one. They're thinking of extending the talks to maybe July 7th. So we'll see if they decide that. They'll have to decide that in the next 24 hours or something. So that's what they're going to do. So they're either going to strike tomorrow or they're going to strike, maybe July 7th. Let's see what they decide. So what's going on with the strike situation? So as you might have heard, the Directors Guild not only reached an agreement, but their members approved it. So the Directors Guild is done. They're all set up for the next couple of years. SAG now, that's the big question mark. Will they also strike a deal? Fran Drescher was on Good Morning America this morning, and she was saying, look at her getting in the news. And she said, we're making headway in some areas, and other areas we are not, and we are prepared to strike if we do not get what we want. She also said, because we stand with the Writers Guild. But I do think that because it would be so devastating if actors went on strike, that would really grind Hollywood to a halt. They couldn't even do publicity. What happened with the Writers Guild is that they banked a bunch of scripts before the deadline, and they've just been filming those and then pacing themselves so they don't run out of material by hopefully the time the writer's strike is over, which again, everybody expects or hopes will be at the end of the summer. But if the actors go on strike, Hollywood will truly shut down. So I think there's a very good chance that they will reach a deal with SAG. I think they'll probably do the extension, and I think they'll probably reach a deal. And that's really going to suck for the Writers Guild. I think that the Writers Guild, I know, Aaliyah, that a lot of people online want to strike. They want to strike, and that's largely, I would suspect, the people who are unemployed. Most actors can't make a living as an actor. So I think, Sammy, that's a good question, but we're not there yet. Well, we will talk about that in just a minute. But I think that Fran Drescher is a real middle-of-the-road person, and I think she understands the business side, and I think she doesn't want to shut down Hollywood if she doesn't need to. So I think she could make a deal, quite frankly. And then the writers, who have been on strike for quite some time now and now are having to get jobs, day jobs, because their savings have run out, they're in really bad shape. I think it's going to be horrible for them if the Screen Actors Guild also reaches a deal. It'll be just horrible for what they did to the writers. And the writers allowed the DGA and the SAG groups to get deals because of the striking that they did. And so it'll be just once again the writers getting the short end of the stick. And it's really horrible that nobody seems to care about them. When I think, again, our chief complaint these days is how bad the writing is. Now, Sammy asked an interesting question, asked if I'd seen the Squid Game story. Well, the lead actor on Squid Game, it's reported, wants $1 million an episode to come back for season 2. And I have to tell you, I don't know if I'd give him $1 million, but I think he should get a lot. I think that there are a lot of actors who get, I think that's probably his opening shot. Speaking of shooting his shot, Kay Walton, I'm reminded of one of the only funny lines from Orange County. It was a very funny, it was a movie, it was a comedy that came out, and John Lithgow was trying to explain how bargaining works. And he says, you're supposed to ask for too much, and the other side offers too little, and then you meet somewhere in the middle. So I wouldn't give him $1 million an episode. And also, remember, he's asking for upfront. He's asking for his residuals up front because Netflix doesn't pay residuals. I also saw some people talking about the fact that Netflix got an increase of value of $900 million from Squid Game, yet nobody associated with the show made any money off of it, including the creator. And so that's pretty bad. That's really not cool. So I wouldn't give him $1 million up front, but I would give him Pedro Pascal earned $600,000 an episode for The Last of Us. And I say this guy's definitely on the same level as Pedro Pascal in The Last of Us. So I think he should get something, quite frankly. That's what I would do. I think he deserves, definitely 6 figures. And probably a little more. I mean, Pedro Pascal is probably getting residuals. And of course, this guy won't because it's a Netflix deal. So who said, Aubrey Small said $750. You're on fire today, Aubrey. $750. I think $750 sounds pretty good. That's probably what I would be hoping for with that $1 million request, quite frankly. All right, does anybody have any questions about this? Hold on. I see a couple of you do. Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Did I pass anybody? Nope. All right, I'm coming back. Randy says, any leaks on what holdup is to settle the strike? Keep hearing they're in talks. I heard that the writers weren't actually in talks right now. I think the AI thing, and I think the writers' rooms and the AI is a real problem because they don't, also the writers' rooms are extremely expensive, which I think is an issue. Bruce Wayne says, Fran Drescher as SAG prez is still so weird to process. Did you hear about the 100 actors who signed a letter demanding SAG leadership not compromised? Yes, I did. Fran Drescher signed that herself. But let's see. I wouldn't put showboating ahead of and I wouldn't say that Fran Drescher was above showboating. I think she's quite shrewd, actually. And I think she's looking out for only her group. Tito says, I stand Fran Drescher hard. Nanny was the first sitcom I was obsessed with, and I still binge it every other year. Oh, that's great. Her acting was very I Love Lucy. That's an interesting comparison. And, I actually have to say, not a bad one. Danny says, as a reminder, Squid Game was a non-union production. Well, it's hard to talk about that, Danny, because it was in Korea. So they're talking about the fact that, people are like, hey, Korea's not on strike. But at the same time, Korea's like, where's our money? Why aren't we getting any money? All right, I think we'll move on to the Ask Me Anything portion of the stream. Hold on. All right, Q&A time. It's 6:27. You can ask me anything that you would like until 6:37. see here. Heather S. says, Netflix is making a lot of money off of Korean shows. They sure are. The R-Man63 says, Grace, do you pre-film reviews or do you wait? What do you mean? You know, like I don't film them right away because I feel like they feel canned if I film them too far in advance. Like, for instance, I've seen Mission Impossible, but I won't review it. My review can't go up until July 5th, so I'm planning to make the review on Monday because I don't want to work on 4th of July. So I'll make it on the Monday right before, even though I could technically make it anytime since I saw the film on Tuesday. VTTV says, are you going to try the Grimace Shake? No, I can't eat processed food anymore. I'm on a health kick. So, and I don't eat sugar. And I'm sure that thing's pure sugar. But I have been enjoying the TikTok craze. I didn't think that was very amusing. Let's see here. Lord Baratheon, I talked about the Fantastic Four situation at the top of the stream. It's what I told you guys a while ago, and I think only Vanessa Kirby has been cast. Roll the Bryce says, who would you cast as Dinah Lance in the new DCU? My vote goes to Samara Weaving. I think she's too slight physically to play that character. I think we're so far away from having a Black Canary, and I wouldn't want to take that role over after people liked Journey Smollett in it so much. I would just let that rest. Jerome says, any news on The Flash and potential consequences of it? Not yet, but it's pretty bad. It's bad, you know? It's really bad. I think, Superman Legacy, that casting kind of showed you a little bit of them trying to change the conversation. Sadie says, Ulta or Sephora? I wear largely MAC cosmetics, so I go to the MAC store. Pop Culture Galaxy says, hi, Grace. I think you might be underestimating the box office potential of the Marvels. Everyone goes nuts when I wear my Captain Marvel shirt. Well, Pop Culture Galaxy, I'm sure the people that you know are excited about it, right? But I don't see it being a big hit across the board. Not to say it'll be a bomb, and I don't know if it'll be a bomb, but I don't think it's going to perform, I think it maybe is going to perform more like an Ant-Man movie, which would be my guess right now. Clifton says, what are your thoughts on the new Dune trailer? I thought it looked okay, but I really don't think anybody cares at this point. And I think, I think Dune might have missed its window. Bartleby the Scrivener says, hey, I invite you to open the can of worms that is Jonathan Majors' developments today. Bartleby. Thoughts on Anthony Mackie's public defense of Majors and media reports that his ex is likely to be arrested if she enters the U.S. I haven't commented on this because I have no idea what's real anymore and what's a smokescreen from Jonathan Majors' attorneys. I haven't seen any announcements from the NYPD. I've only seen this come out from Jonathan Majors' team, so I cannot treat it as true. I feel that, the NYPD hasn't said it's not true, which you think they would, but I feel like this is so serious and so out of control that I agree with Anthony Mackie. I just want to stay away from it until he has his hearing, until Jonathan Majors has his hearing. I have not called for Jonathan Majors to be fired. I have tried to, I don't know if I say support is the right word, but to separate the artist from the material, as I did with The Flash. And I'm not saying Loki season 2 should be canceled. I'm waiting to see what happens in the trial. Again, I do not know what the New York attorney has, what evidence they have. They said they've had several people who've come forward, and I really need to hear that. So I'm not going to be commenting on Jonathan Majors until he has his day in court. In either area, I'm not going to be saying he's guilty. I'm not going to be saying he's innocent, because I really honestly have no idea. I think that I think that some of his behavior has been extremely sketchy, and I think some of the behavior from the other side has been extremely sketchy. It seems to be quickly turning into another Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, where everybody's just like, this is a mess, I want out. Hey, Volty. Frosty Salt says, what is your Indiana Jones ranking, and who is your my top 4 characters? I don't know, I can't do that, but I'll rank them. So I would go Last Crusade, Raiders, Temple of Doom, Dial of Destiny, and then really not even deserving to be on the list is Crystal Skull. Let's see here. 80s model, I have not read the Deadpool leaks because I don't want to have the movie spoiled for me to that degree. I've told you that the original X-Men are coming back, and that's really all I want to know about it. You know, like, I think I would have had such a different reaction to Avengers Endgame if I had known in advance that Tony Stark was going to die, that Cap was going to pick up Thor's hammer. I think that would have so degraded the experience for me that I'm really trying not to have that happen again. Hold on, I got fast forwarded here. I got to go back. I'm missing some questions here. Okay, all right, I'm caught up here. Guto Ruiz says, all my friends are excited to see Barbie in Brazil. That's wonderful. I hope it would be great if it was a global phenomenon. Queen Davy, Blood of Zeus is not only getting a second season, but a third season. I don't know when they're coming out, but they're coming. It's a great show. I'm very excited for it to return. Starry says, hi, Grace. Love your content as always. You make my day. Have you been keeping up with the Scarlet Witch comics? Thoughts on it now? I know you originally said you didn't care for it. I am still reading it. I still think it's only medium, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm still buying it. Comics are bad right now. Really bad. Diana says, Grace, I've been having a really difficult time lately, and today was really bad. Aw. I got to tell you, Diana, I've been having a rough time, too. It's been really hard, and so I particularly can relate to you. So I just want to say thank you for creating this positive space and all that you do. It's my pleasure, Diana. You guys lift my spirits. I've been having a rough time, really, the past couple of weeks. And every time I get, you guys make me sad just thinking about it. And just getting on here with you guys really lifts my spirits and allows me to forget stuff, and it's just really great. So the fact that I can do that for any of you means a lot. And Diana, we just got to stay strong. We will persevere. You just can't let this stuff get the best of you. I know it's hard. I'm glad you're finding stuff like this live stream to cheer you up and to look after your mental health. And we're going to make it through to the other side. I'm sure we will. I'm going to remember this and tell it to myself when I'm feeling down. Nick says, I don't think the Young Avengers will do well. Joe Locke doesn't seem like a mainstream actor. I don't know. He's getting bullied by some groups, Nick, which is really unfortunate, but I'm telling you, when you actually see his performance, I think you'll fall in love with him. He's really very, very charismatic. Thanks for the encouragement, Silver Scale. Shamar Hunter says, hi, I'm not gonna have time to review Nimona, I'm afraid. I thought Nimona was very good with the voice talent. I'll tell you now how I feel about it. I thought the voice talent was very good. I thought that the world building was good. I think it missed its window a little bit. I don't think it seemed particularly fresh, and it played a little preteen. And also I think it's a little narrow in its appeal. Let's see here. Mandela Butterfly says, question, Grace, how far in advance do you write your review? What I do is that I will take notes a little bit after I've seen the movie, but I write the review right when I'm going to film it, or the night before. Nikon says, have you seen the new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer, and will you review the movie? Keep up the good work. Thank you. I will review the movie. I will for sure. But it's Universal trailers I don't really usually cover. But I think it looked okay. Regan Wheeler says, miss this. Can you say morning movie news? Sure. Hello and welcome to, did I say hello and welcome to morning movie news? But yeah, morning movie news. Logan says, based on your Indiana Jones review, why does Hollywood want to fundamentally change characters and franchises so drastically? I talk about that in my spoiler review, Logan. I think there are a couple of options, but I think it's a mistake. I hope that they're going to be changing that. AJ Linky says, do you think Iger will be able to reverse the damage Chapek did to the Disney parks? I think it's going to take a long time. I think it can be fixed. Disney's gotten out of slumps before, but I think it's going to take time, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, to be honest with you. I think that this presidential election is going to be tough for Disney. VTTV, I'm not on TikTok. I see the TikToks on Twitter where people upload them. Let's see here. Ahmad, I'm glad you made it. Toon Dude 19 says, do you think Dune 2 will do well since we're getting so much Zendaya now and she is a huge star? I don't know. I don't think she looked that good in the trailer, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I think people are going to be more interested in Challengers, her tennis movie. B-Weeb, you made it. You're still here. Bruce Wayne says, who would you like to see play Reed Richards? I like the Glenn Howerton idea. I thought Penn Badgley, but Penn Badgley's too slight for Vanessa Kirby. Let's see who they cast. There has to be someone opposite Vanessa Kirby now. Faisal says, hey Grace, favorite Jodie Comer and Meryl Streep performances. Jodie Comer, hands down, the earlier seasons of Killing Eve, although unfortunately that show became unwatchable. And then as for Meryl Streep, I've answered this before. I really like her in Devil Wears Prada, but I'm also very impressed with her performance when she was an Iron Lady. Rodney Dollar says, Grace, any news on Joyride screener? I'm hearing great things about it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to review it, Rodney, because of the 4th of July. No matter what happens next week, I do have videos planned for next week, but I'm not quite sure about live streams and covering like Joyride or Insidious, The Red Door. Ernest Menville says, Grace, what are your thoughts about Taylor Swift and The Weeknd now being members of the Academy despite not having any real experience in Hollywood? I think The Weeknd was a weird choice. And, as much as Taylor Swift is an icon, I guess because she sings songs that have been in movies, I don't know. I think they're just trying to make the Academy more relevant, and that's really behind the people they've invited to join. Devin, I don't have an updated casting suggestion for Fantastic Four. Too much at the moment. Celestine, hey, says, haven't been a fan of Christian shows movies, but I love The Chosen. Have you seen it? So good all around. Celestine, I haven't seen The Chosen, but I've certainly heard of it, and I'm very impressed that it got picked up by, I think, the CW. So that's a huge deal. That it's self-funded. It's had some movie screenings because we've talked about it on Movie Math, but for it to get bumped up to the CW and picked up like that is really, really impressive. Oh, I'm behind. Let me try and catch up here. Alexander Padilla says, Grace, have you heard anything about the Universal Monster movie with the Scream directors from Melissa Barrera? Love from California. Keep up the work. I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about that yet. But I'm excited. I like that team and I like the Universal Monsters. Isaac says, should Shrek 5 have the same animation as Puss in Boots 2 or no? I think it should look like a Shrek movie, quite frankly. I wouldn't alter it too much. Zay says, can you sell me on Oppenheimer? I'm just not sold. Well, I think you should see it at some point. I think it's going to be a work of art from Nolan. And I also think it's such a crucial part of history, of world history. And it so changed the planet and, pretty much, it really changed warfare. I think it's worth watching. Danny Boyd says, I still think Margot Kidder's performance in Superman is the best non-superhero performance by a human. What's yours? Oh, Danny, that's such a tough thing off the top of my head. I don't know. I like Jim Gordon, be it Gary Oldman or Jeffrey Wright. I liked Terry Hatcher wasn't in a movie, but I liked her Lois Lane better than Margot Kidder. There have been some great performances. Oh, just Josh. That's so sweet of you. I hope you all have a great holiday weekend too. Brad McDonald says, hey Grace, it's my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Brad. Super happy. I got to start my day with your live. Thanks for all your hard work. Should I see Indy today? Oh, for your birthday? I got to tell you, okay, I'm torn on this. On the one hand, it would be fun to go see a big movie for your birthday. But on the other hand, it's such a depressing film. I don't know if you want to be sad on your birthday. So if there's another movie that maybe you haven't seen, I would go see that instead and maybe see Indiana Jones tomorrow. I don't want you to be sad on your birthday. All right, let's see here. Jesse, I talked about Jamie Lee Curtis on The Bear on Tuesday. I think she was great on it. Elias says, sick of the Joe Locke hate, especially by members of the LGBT community, as is Elias, but it shows a huge problem in our community. Yeah, I think it's kind of distasteful what people are saying about him, but I hope that people give him a chance. Travis Marshall says, didn't know you were having such a tough time. That's very sweet of you, Travis. You're always a sweetheart. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I'll get over it. I'll get through it. Nicholas says, hi, Grace. I wanted to share with you that at my university, I'm part of a radio show where I talk about movies and TV. You inspired me very much to do it. I'm very happy. That's wonderful. Congratulations. Let's see here. Faisal says, hey, Grace, been a fan since your Saving Mr. Banks review. Do you think the addition of Meryl Streep will increase the awards prospects of Only Murders, considering it only gets noms and rarely wins? Well, like what? For Meryl Streep? She doesn't need any more awards. I just hope. I'm just very excited about the new season. And Paul Rudd. Remember when we were all just excited about Paul Rudd, and everybody's just focusing on Meryl Streep. I think they're both exciting. Diego says, found out my best friend also watches your videos. Oh, I love it. Hello to both of you. Let's see here. Dylan Reese says, Young Avengers haven't even been announced yet. They will by the end of the year. Let's see here. Writer Boy says, I'm praying for everyone and wishing nothing but positive energy. Things have been tough lately, especially for my family. We have a funeral in the morning, and it's just been a lot. We're all going to make it. Oh, that's very kind of you, Writer Boy. I'm sorry that you're going through such a difficult time. That's very rough. But I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself as well. And it's so kind of you to reach out for others, to try and cheer other people up when you're having a tough time yourself. Let's see here. AJ Jones is going to Disney World after Thanksgiving. That's very exciting. Danny Dunphy says, hi, Grace. Thanks for the great coverage. Love your support for the BTT fam. Any predictions, T, for the next season of Only Murders in the Building? I just hope it's going to be funny. I'm very excited about it. Junior Jangle says, Grace, love your angelic backlighting. Yes, it's that time of day. Which artist do you like more, Arthur Adams or Barry Windsor Smith? Cheers. I only really know Arthur Adams off the top of my head. I'm not quite sure about Barry Windsor Smith, just thinking about it. I guess I'd go with Arthur Adams then, but I'm not a big fan of Arthur Adams' artwork. Thanks, Swamp Thing. I appreciate your hug. I can feel your hug. Thank you. And then Jareem says, I'm a big fan of movies in general, but have a special place in my heart for old Hollywood movies. Are there any old Hollywood stars whose biopics you would love to see adapted? People would be fascinated by Hedy Lamarr. I think they would. Gal Gadot was going to play her, as you might recall. I don't think she would have done a good job, so I'm glad that didn't go through. But as I said, the Rock Hudson documentary came out this week on Max, and I think that's worth seeing. I think that's a really interesting story as well. I love classic movies. Sammy says, can Apple outbid Universal to acquire Warner Brothers? They have the cash to do it and need it for streaming. I don't think Apple wants the headache, quite frankly. I think Apple's fine the way they are. But let's see how Apple Vision Pro works out. Sean Turner says, Mike Feist would be a good Johnny Storm. Maybe. I don't know. He looks a little bit too much older than Tom Holland for me. Oh, I'm seeing all your nice support. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. You guys are great. I don't like to talk about myself, as you know, but I just want you to know that I just want you to know that tough times happen to everybody. Because I think so often people feel like, why me? And you're alone, and it's just you having to go through it. And as you can see, a lot of people are having a tough time. Okay, I think I'm pretty caught up. Faisal gifted a membership. Oh, hold on, I'm a little behind. Oh, I got that one. Ernest says, Grace, I wish you could interview the cast of Only Murders in the Building for their upcoming 3rd season. Would love a Grace and Meryl interaction. That'd be funny. But I don't really know if I don't know if they'll be doing a big junket like that. Alwatch says, Grace, DC has these new runs only to jump into the Night Terror event, which is a summer horror event, and taking place in dreams so no consequences. Skipping it until they come back in September. Yeah, that doesn't sound like I'm going to watch that either. Read that. That's a comic book event. Danny, thank you for gifting a membership. Orlando says, just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work, Grace. You're my entertainment source to go through 24/7. Movie math is the highlight of your week. That makes me feel so nice. I'm so glad you feel that way. And then Nilfinity says, have you read Disney War? Just started it and can't put it down. Wish you and everyone the best. I've never heard of Disney War. I'll look into that. Let's see here. I think I'm pretty caught up here. All right, I think that's good. Let me go on to, whose birthday is it? Did someone say it was a birthday? Mika, where is your super chat? I didn't see it. How did I miss it? Isaiah says, hey Grace, if and when the SAG strike happens, what will that mean for the press and publicity for Ahsoka? It would mean they couldn't do it. Unless it gets settled pretty quickly. Oh, Treble, thank you for the ice cream cone. I'm looking, Mika. Oh, Mika says, have you seen the rumor of Brendan Fraser as Pa Kent? I don't want to see Pa Kent die again. I've had enough of that. All right, Q&A is over. Let's do shout-outs because I don't have anything. I have my evening is free just for working. Oh, thanks, Justin. That's very sweet of you. That's very sweet. I'm glad you were able to join for just a few minutes. All right, it's shout-out time. What's going on, everybody? Just give me tell me what you're up to. Just so I can say hi. I haven't done shout-outs in a while. VTTV is having pasta with their family. Fiction Fan is about to watch the replay of the stream while Nick is drinking a smoothie in New York City. And Bug says, love from Wisconsin. Erica is going to see No Hard Feelings. Have fun. Oh, thanks, Aaliyah. Thanks for the hugs. And Wasted Poe is about to make some blueberry muffins. Oh, delicious. Sophia is getting ready for dinner in Florida. While Kev4600 says hi from Toronto. Alistair Campbell is eating haggis in Edinburgh, Scotland. That's very, very Scotlandy. Let's see here. Diego says, thoughts on Mason Gooding for Johnny Storm. Oh, I like him, but I think after what happened to Michael B. Jordan, I don't know if anybody would want to do that with Johnny Storm again. Alex says, hi from the up of Michigan, relaxing for the night and enjoying the stream. Hello! Zeke the Wise says, playing Tears of the Kingdom, while Des Nizra says, just got up from my sleep. It's a little before 6 a.m. in Indonesia. Glad to make it in the live stream. Oh, good morning, Des Nizra. I love talking to people on the other side of the globe. Brett Crandall said, just made a dump cake in Kansas. How Midwest of me. Oh, I hope everything's going well with you, Brett. Mike Media says, hi, and jogging a mile in Pennsylvania. Good for you. Good to be all healthy. While Faisal says, watching with a slice of walnut banana bread in sunny Spain. Oh, I love it. Sion says, packing to fly from London to Orlando tomorrow. Cosmic Rewind, here I come. Another Disney vacation. How exciting. Rashad says, about to have a Disney Channel Summer Games type party with friends for a birthday. So excited. Everybody's got Disney on the mind. I love it. Thank you, Ryan Wall. That's very kind of you. Rodney Dollar says, I've been listening to songs from the Barbie soundtrack lately. Still excited. Grace, have you heard any of the songs from it? I have not. I'm afraid I have not, but I am excited for the movie. Diego says, getting through work before going to Disneyland tomorrow. Oh, what a Friday. Oh, hey, Mima in Nigeria. Dane O'Leary says, checking out at Lowe's with some paint for my basement. About to watch your Indy 5 non-spoiler review on the way home from Alamo Drafthouse. Oh, that's awesome, Dane. Way to multitask. Vochuli says, finally got the tickets for Oppenheimer 70 millimeter today. Now just chilling and maybe try to go through the first episode of Secret Invasion after your stream. Good luck. It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch, man. Kareem says, packing to go to Indiana. Wish me luck. Have a great trip, Kareem. Let's see here. Fiction Fan says, I hope you have a great weekend, Grace. Thank you. I hope you do too. And Alex says, leaving Disneyland Paris on my way back home to London. That's Alex. Oh, how lovely. I've been to Disneyland Paris. It is nice. Sepatui says, it's Friday. Got the day off. It's raining. I'm going back to bed. It's almost 11 a.m. Hugs from New Zealand. Oh, that's great. Oh, that sounds very cozy, Sepatui. I'm glad you have the day off. Zay says, watching from Verizon. I'm about to finish up the shift. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And official Liam G says, Grace just finished watching Indy 5. I liked it a lot. Oh, that's great. I hope you check out my spoiler review tomorrow. Dory Does Voices says that they wish it was Friday as well. It's almost, Dory. We're so close. Oh, Des Nizra, that's very sweet of you. I hope you all have a great weekend. Let's see here. Chris Porras says, hi from Costa Rica, thinking about ordering some pizza. I love it. And Treble Latree says, in Virginia Beach area, waiting to close on a home in a couple weeks and checking into my new command tomorrow. Wow, big changes, Treble. That's exciting. And then Dragon says, about to pack for my trip to the south of France. Oh, I love it there. So beautiful. Oh, so nice. I hope you have a wonderful time. That's going to be a great trip. Kiss My Kimchi says, howdy, I made it. Oh, no, it's almost over. Oh, but I got to say hi to you. And Ernest Menville says, finished watching Based on a True Story starring Kaylee Cuoco here in London and enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I heard that was good. I heard that was good. I also heard Hijack on Apple TV was good. All right. Jojit says, having breakfast and getting ready for work. Hi from the Philippines. Oh, hello. And Elias says, cleaning my apartment at 1 a.m. before driving home to my family in Italy tomorrow morning. Oh, wow. You're getting ready for the weekend. Drive safe. Staying up so late. Be careful. All right, everybody. I had a wonderful time with you as always. I don't know if I'll be going live tomorrow, but I do know that tomorrow I'll be posting the Indiana Jones spoiler review. And then on Sunday, Movie Math will go up. And then there'll be a little bit of programming on Monday, nothing on Tuesday because it's 4th of July. And then there will be programming later in the week. So we're going to have a great time. Neutral Man, I'm glad you had a good time. All right, toodles. That's right, Ricky Richie. Bye, everybody. You guys were great. I had a great time with you. All right, see you soon. Bye.